Hey, everybody, welcome live from Chicago. It's the Sports Doctor. I'm Dr. Bob Weil, sports podiatrist. All things sports medicine, fitness, and wellness. Brought to you by Global Schoolwear, school uniforms by Tommy Hilfiger, LER, Lower Extremity Review Magazine, UK, Health Radio, and Populate, electronic medical records for the podiatry profession. We've got a great doubleheader. Chris Lee Maher, former Navy SEAL. He's now a mind and body Chinese medicine healer. He's the author of Free for Life, joins me, along with Doug Schmidt. He's the author of The Power of Self-Leadership. He'll share some of his Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson stories that was such a big part of his mental philosophies. Then the Sports Doctor's in, some Dr. Bob wisdom, your emails. Chris Lee Maher, welcome to the Sports Doctor.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me, Doc. Happy to be here.
It's an honor to have a Navy SEAL. You know, in sports medicine, regardless of the athletes or the sports, I've talked about for years how the Navy SEALs might be the best athletes of them all, besides holding your breath underwater for a half hour, etc. But give us some background, Chris, if you would, on yourself and everything you do.
Yeah, everything I do today was based on everything that I did when I was in SEAL training in the SEAL teams that put an excessive amount of tension and stress in my body. And so today I spend my days helping people reduce their lifetime accumulated stress loads and their daily accumulated stress loads so that they can perform better, whether their performance is being a doctor, their performance is being an Olympic athlete, or their performance is being a successful musician. Because what I've learned is that stress lowers your brain's ability to respond and make really, really good decisions. And whenever you're a high performer, you're always under an intense amount of pressure. And so all the people that I help with are really successful because they know how to reduce that lifetime accumulated stress load.
That's before social media and the pandemic chimed in. That's right. I hear you saying people can heal, like a seal. I think it's a great proverb that you talked about. I call it the mental game, Chris. I'm a sports doctor for decades, whether I have on sports psychologists, psychiatrists, high-performance mental trainers, people, again, coming from backgrounds similar to yourself, where, again, Chinese medicine, East and Western medical culture, mind, body, some very, very powerful things that 20 years ago, sports medicine thought it was voodoo in many, many ways. And today, there's not a serious sports team that doesn't take, at all levels, that doesn't take so many of these principles really into action with what they're trying to do, whether it's build better teammates, whether we're talking about the best athlete in the world or their grandmother. Stress is a gigantic, it's amazing, Chris. Guests I have on from all over the world, so many different topics. Mental health, such a big, big, big deal. And how have you found the Chinese medicine areas, the mind-body areas, so important in what you're looking to do with people and help them?
Yeah, I think a lot of people that come and see me, what they realize is that they know they have as much skill as the other people in their field, but they're finding it difficult to get access to it. And so when you look at traditional Chinese medicine and their philosophy of allowing qi, meaning energy, to flow freely through the body, they're looking at it as where's the person stuck and where are they stagnant? Are they stuck mentally? Are they stuck emotionally? Are they stuck energetically? Or are they stuck structurally? When someone is stuck structurally, they deal with joint pain. When they're stuck energetically, they deal with exhaustion. When they're stuck emotionally, they find it difficult to connect to themselves and others. And when they're stuck mentally, it's very difficult for them to shift out of brain fog and make very good, clear decisions. And I think when you're a high performer, you're the type of person who's willing to look under every single stone in every single fallen branch in the woods to figure out what you can do to become the best version of yourself.
You know what's interesting, Chris, is the best athletes in the world, whether it was Simone Biles and her discussion in between the Olympics and paying such attention to the stress that was in her life, Michael Phelps, the incredible swimming champion, both who made a big deal out of, again, what I call the mental game, all of these different aspects. And, you know, there's no doubt about it, we need every tool we can get when we take a look at whether it's the adolescents, whether it's senior citizens, baby boomers, et cetera, with being able, you know, to reduce some of this stress. And it's interesting how the Tao, which I know you pay attention to, all 3,000 years old, whatever it is, these incredible principles, you know, has to do with, you know, the whole side of the mental part of it. It's amazing how it's lasted all these thousands of years in a lot of ways in the attitude side.
Well, the nice thing about what they've been doing for so long is they've been using sound and movement and using the mind to circulate energy in a specific way to get really internalized. And what I mean by that is they're able to pick up on the most subtle details. And if you can pick up on more subtle details, you can make greater distinctions. And when you come to being an athlete, a greater distinction might be, wow, I need 4 ounces more water before I take off on this race. Or I think I need a little bit of extra fruit before I go on to this wrestling match. And just these subtle details being so tuned in allows them to make better decisions.
What's the best website, Chris, people can find out about you and your work, your book?
Yeah, it's easy. You go to truebodyintelligence.com, and then you can find and read about my work and easily figure out how to order the book.
What is the True Body Intelligence system, Chris?
Yeah, the True Body Intelligence system is designed to increase physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual intelligence. And, you know, I tell people all the time, if you're in pain, it's because your body's dumb, right? If you're unable to think,
right, that's a good point.
Right. So,
smarten the body up, man.
Smarten the body up. Make the body intelligent, right? And how you make the body intelligent is using isometric, eccentric, and concentric contractions in order to remove excessive amounts of tension and stress, because excessive stress makes your body dumb.
Is that why yoga, Tai Chi, some of these other disciplines, I'm a big Tai Chi user in many, many ways for different body movements, you know, good lubricate. Is that sometimes what fits in to the premises that you're talking about, you know, paying big attention to that to the physical side also?
Yeah, I think those are a nice counterbalance, because I know as a Navy SEAL, it's so easy to put on a rucksack, put that on my back and go a 6-mile run, or hop in the ocean and swim for 3 or 4 miles, or go to the gym and push weights around for an hour or two.
Yeah.
But it's more difficult to sit into a meditative state, quiet your mind, take really slow passive movements. And I always believe that the more balanced an athlete is, the more balanced an entrepreneur is, the more balanced the mom is, the more balanced the doctor is. It's going to make it easier to perform at a very high level when you're able to access the feminine and the masculine aspects of training.
How do you find, again, because, you know, I talk about, I'm a sports doctor all the time, what I call the new medicine, which is number 1, eat smarter. I'll leave it up to you to define smarter. Number 2, keep moving. And number 3, reduce stress, like you're really talking about, you know, whatever vehicle that you could find in that regard. And the idea that you could, you know, mix these different systems together, I'm sure you pay big attention to the nutritional side also.
Yeah, well, one of the first things that I do with people is I make sure that we reduce a lot of their tension and stress in their stomach, their pancreas, their liver, and their gallbladder. And so,
are you a meditation fan, Chris?
Am I a meditation fan? I am a meditation fan of 2 ways. Passive meditation, meaning washing the dishes, doing laundry, vacuuming the floor, cleaning out your car, because I like those things because they force you into being present.
Isn't it amazing how, it's so valuable to hear that mundane things can be extremely valuable for us, which is an interesting point of view that I think maybe the world was slowly but surely catching on, or what? What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I think if you're anxious, it's to deal with your anxiety. It's very easy to do that when you get involved in mundane tasks, because the mundane task is taking up all of your attention. And I know I feel my anxiety sort of ease out of my body as I do that.
So that's the passive side. What's the other part, the active?
Yeah, the active meditation is you're sitting down purposely for 5 to 10 minutes, even 15, 20 minutes. You're following your breath, breathing in for 5 seconds, exhaling for 6 seconds. And if you do that for 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes a day, you're going to really quiet your mind, but you're going to really calm your anxiety.
I've had sound experts on the show, Chris, with sound baths and doing and including what you were just mentioning, the idea of sound and some of these other kinds of rhythms that seem to make such a difference in health and wellness, even at the highest level, again, of sports. What are some of the toughest physical things that you think the Navy SEAL world brought to the table for you in your memories, Chris?
I think they helped me become very stress resilient by sitting in what they called surf torture, which means they take you out to the water, you walk into the ocean about 3.5 feet, and then you take a seat right where the waves crash on top of your body. And now, obviously, getting hypothermia isn't good for you, but when you have to sit there in the cold and have these waves crash over you again and again, it helps you become stress resilient mentally, psychologically, and emotionally.
Are there women Navy SEALs?
There are no female Navy SEALs.
Ooh, okay. Wait, I was going to say, we're going to start a new trend. Wait till we start sharing this show with people with that question. I was really, really curious in that regard. But again, the physical side, the physical training, again, on that side, but also, that incredible mental side. When you're looking at an Olympic champion, a professional athlete, and the big attention that the negative side of that we feature so much in the world of youth sports, the pressure to win, the overzealousness in so many areas with these kids with these overuse injuries. And you mentioned that big word, balance. Talk more about that.
Yeah, for me, I think when I work with athletes, and I work with some of the best athletes in the world, which I consider Olympic wrestlers. Yes, I'm always focused towards getting them towards balance, like having a good spiritual life, whether it's prayer, meditation, eating well.
I'll throw this into you and your athletes, Chris, from the sports doctor. Get them to continue to strengthen their feet and ankles. But go ahead. I think when they're focused on their spiritual life, prayer, meditation, doing good things in their community, when they're eating well, when they're sleeping well, but also finding an activity and a hobby that you like that has nothing to do with your sport. You mentioned something before we run out of time, Chris. Again, the inclusion of the spiritual side at the highest level of sports medicine, again, which was neglected forever, that's really becoming well accepted. You're a big part of that.
Yes. I mean, it's super, super important because if you feel good, you do good. And when people feel bad, they do bad. And I think it's easy for athletes to feel a lot of pressure and then pick up negative stress management tools like alcohol these days, marijuana, or sugar. And I think athletes think that they can get away with that because they work so hard, but they choose these self-defeating substances. And when you've got a focused spiritual life, it makes it very easy to make really good decisions because you're living a life that's in alignment with your values.
Again, the attention to this part of all aspects of sports medicine is such an important thing that we've talked about, again, for decades with so many different experts, which, again, that the mental game, all of these sides, whether it is dealing with a health issue, again, whether it's coming back from injury, whether it's enhancing performance at the highest level, dealing with chronic pain, a lot of these different things. Do you find, before we run out of time, that medicine in many ways is catching up with paying attention to this, Chris?
Yeah, I think I see so many more doctors out there that are MDs that are inclusive of all the elements. And the ones that work with athletes are having a much bigger impact when they're inclusive of all the other aspects.
Yeah, I knew the time would fly by with you, Chris.
Life.
Want to make sure. Give us again the website. People could find out about you, the book, and the work you're doing.
Yeah, you could go to truebodyintelligence.com. The book is there. There's podcasts there. There's interviews there. There's articles that I've written there. You can start to familiarize yourself with the information.
Well, I want to thank you so much. Thanks so much for joining me. Chris, hold on. We'll be right back, everybody. It's the Sports Doctor, live from Chicago.